Yo, what is up, guys? It's Cohen back here again today with another video. And today I just want to quickly talk about the NBA games that happened today. There are only two. Not much happened in the NBA today because a lot of teams played yesterday on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So we only had the Jazz Pelicans game, which I will focus on more in the video, as you could probably tell by the title. Mainly going to talk about the Pelicans. I've talked about the Jazz previously. You can go back and watch that video. The Jazz are really good. I don't think you need me to tell you that at this point. But the other game was the Nuggets and Thunder. My Thunder did not have a good showing today. We got very, very beat up, and that's all right. These games are bound to happen. We're a team that isn't very good. We're very young. So an experienced team like the Nuggets that just went to the Western Conference Finals, it doesn't surprise me that we got kind of beat up. Isaiah Roby didn't fill in very well in terms of defense against defense against Nikola Jokic. I almost said Al Horford there, but he was filling in for Al Horford, who just had a kid. Shout out to Al Horford and his newborn child. I hope everything's going great with him. I'll love to see him return to the court eventually, but for right now, I hope he takes all the time he needs with his child. With that being said, while he's gone, we'll desperately miss his defense because Jokic torched us for 27. Roby just couldn't defend him. He's young. This is basically Roby's rookie season, even though it's not technically his first season or his rookie season in the league. He hasn't played much of his career so far. He's only 22 years old, and he's finally getting real opportunities now. And he has impressed so far when he's been given starting minutes. A lot of Thunder fans wanted to cut him before the season, and from the preseason action, I don't blame them, but I'm very glad that they were wrong. Roby's been great. He showed a lot of potential, and he honestly looks like a potential piece of this core going forward. Alongside with that, you have Shea had a pretty good game. He was on triple-double watch before this turned into a blowout, and then he kind of just sat the rest of the game. Additionally, Lou Dort had a great game. He had 20. His rise offensively has been meteoric. It's been unreal. It's been so fun to watch as a fan of his and as a fan of the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's fantastic to watch Lou Dort on a nightly basis. A player who a lot of people called one of the worst offensive players in the league last season now is a threat to drop like 20 on your head any given night through a variety of ways, through finishing at the rim, driving straight at you and just bodying you, fighting through contact to get the layup, drilling threes. He, this season, has more threes already in 13 games than he had all of last season, and he's shooting at an above 40% clip, which is unreal. He's been fantastic, and I can't wait to see where his career goes next. So that's about all I want to say about that game. I tweeted a lot about it. You can go check me out on Twitter at 3_Cone if you don't already follow me, or if you already didn't come from there, because I tweet out all these videos. But what I mainly wanted to talk about was the Jazz Pelicans game. The Jazz won in a pretty comfortable fashion. They won by 16 points, 118-102. Rudy Gobert is good. Donovan Mitchell has been picking it up. He started out slumping to start the season, and he's looked like the all-star player that he usually does these past few games. He's going to be an all-star. I don't think that's a question. It's a question if they can get a second one in Rudy Gobert. I don't think they end up getting an all-star just because the West is so stacked. But shout out to Mitchell. He's been fantastic, and the Jazz are now second in the West. They're really good on a 6-game win streak, I think. And like I said, that's mostly been in part to the fact that Donovan Mitchell has picked it up from his slump. I think a lot of people forgot how good this Jazz team was before Bojan Bogdanovic went out before the bubble. So don't sleep on the Utah Jazz. On the other side of the ball is the Pelicans, who are in a very weird spot. I don't know what the Pelicans are trying to do in some aspects. I feel like they're trying to make a team that just does not fit at all around the young talent, like their young core. And by what I mean by that is the prime example, I think, is bringing in Steven Adams, who I love. Thunder legend. It was so sad to see him go and all, but Adams doesn't fit that team. He can't stretch the floor. He's nearing 30 years old, and they gave him a contract for the next couple seasons. He's making a decent bit of money. He's making around $17 million, and I don't think that was a great idea. He doesn't fit very well with Zion, who is like their franchise player, I guess you could say, or Brandon Ingram, either one. But he doesn't fit well with Zion. He fits a little bit better with Ingram because Ingram can space the floor, but when you put non-shooters around Ingram like Zion, Steven Adams, Lonzo Ball, it makes life a lot harder on Ingram because Ingram can get to the rack. He's a good penetrator, but he can't kick out to anyone because no one's going to hit the three unless it's JJ Redick, who's now very old. He's 36, and he's going to be gone after the season most likely. He's making $13 million. I wouldn't be surprised if some team gave him another decent contract to just be a shooter for them. You can never have too much shooting in this league, but I feel like the Pelicans are trying to rush this thing too much. Like, I think the trade for Steven Adams was like, okay, we got Eric Bledsoe at the Jrue Holiday trade, who's another player I can talk about because Eric Bledsoe's making 16, then 18, then $19 million. And I thought they would be able to maybe flip him this season to like a team like the Clippers, who people have talked about needing a point guard for a long time. Except Eric Bledsoe looks very bad this season. He does not look good at all. And I think his trade value is kind of shot right now until he picks it up a little bit. Because if you're trading for a point guard, like to be a championship team, you are not trading for Eric Bledsoe, who's making $17 million to play like every single night. You're not going to do that. You already have Patrick Beverley, who can play a decent role as that defending point guard, which is what Eric Bledsoe does well for less money, and he's already on your roster. You also have other options, like you go out and get a George Hill from the Thunder, who adds shooting to that team. You could go out and you could grab a Kyle Lowry if you wanted to get really big with it. So I don't know where Eric Bledsoe kind of fits. Like I said, I thought they'd flip him, but his trade value is kind of shot. So I guess we'll see what he does there. Where was I going with that? I don't know what tangent I just split off of there. But this team just has a lot of money tied up. Like I said, Adams making $18 million the next couple seasons, or 17, then 18. Brandon Ingram's on a max contract, which he deserves. Bledsoe's got a lot of money. Zion is making about $10 million based on being the number 1 overall pick. About $10.7 million next season, about $13.5 million the season after. And then you're going to have to pay him big. So with that money, it's going to be hard to try and fit pieces. I think the future of this Pelicans team is going to be letting Ingram and Zion develop, and then you cash in the picks you got from the Jrue Holiday trade later down the line for a superstar. I think that's what you have to do. Or I think that's the plan that the Pelicans are probably going to end up going with. So, where does Lonzo Ball fit in that? He's another problem. Lonzo does not fit this roster, at least the current iteration of Lonzo Ball. He is a good passer, he always has been, but he's averaging like 4 assists a game because they've turned him into a shooter, and he cannot shoot. He had a stretch last season where he was shooting fantastic, except this season, he's shooting 7 threes a game, and he's hitting like 30% of them, which is really, really bad. He's averaging his most points per game on by far his highest efficiency, or his not highest efficiency, really low efficiency, but his highest volume ever. And when your volume is going up and your efficiency is going down and your points are barely rising, that's not a good sign. He's not a volume scorer. I don't think he ever will be. And I don't know if you pay Lonzo Ball money in free agency. They might honestly just have to let him walk, and that kind of sucks. But when you have players like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's shown some promise and is only 22 and isn't going to demand money for a lot more time, Lonzo Ball is a free agent this coming offseason. Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Kira Lewis Jr., 2 younger options at the guard spot. Kira Lewis isn't a free agent until 2024-2025. Nickeil Alexander-Walker isn't a free agent until 2023. So you have these younger options, and you don't have to pay them for super long. So Lonzo feels like an odd man out, and that would suck because he was a big part of the Anthony Davis trade. But I don't know if Lonzo's going to get kept this offseason, especially if a team offers him if no team offers him that much money. I could see Lonzo coming back on a qualifying offer and being like, all right, I'm going to prove myself this next season, and I'm going to get a bag, which I hope he does. That would be awesome for him. But if a team comes out and lobs him like a Terry Rozier type deal, like the Hornets gave Terry Rozier when he was a free agent on the Celtics, if a team comes out and offers Lonzo Ball like 18 mil, the Pelicans cannot match that. They can't. It would just be too much money. For a player who plays good defense, which is fair, he is a pretty good defender, but a guy who gets you like 12 points per game and like 4 assists and like can't shoot the ball for anything, he's just not going to be worth that much money on a team that already can't shoot with Zion and now Steven Adams, who you're locked up with, who I don't think anyone else is going to trade for. I just don't know what direction this team's going sometimes, and it's really weird. I felt like this team was going to try and compete for a playoff spot this year, but they're 5-8 right now, and they've had some really bad losses. So I don't think this team's going to make that playoff push. I didn't think they were already, but now I don't even know if they're a play-in team. Like, I think they are. I don't know. Ingram's going to be an all-star. Zion's on the cusp. Zion's going to be really good. Ingram's going to be really good. I think this team, just based off of those two, will try and push for contention at some point. I just don't know if Lonzo's going to be there. I don't think Steven Adams will end up being there. And if he will, he'll be on the last year of his contract. He just doesn't fit. This team is just weird. And I just wanted to talk about how weird this team was. So, with that being said, I think that's all I wanted to talk about. Lot more games tomorrow than there were today. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to double check that now. So now something scares me that there's no games tomorrow. No, there are a lot more games tomorrow. Thank God. Okay. So a lot more games tomorrow. I'll probably be back tomorrow to talk about it. And yeah, with that, I will see you guys later. Everyone say it back.